This is Laura Donahue. I've been teaching for 32 years, and this year was the first year I ever taught virtually. It threw me for a loop, and I looked around me and I saw all these young teachers, and they were TikToking and Instagramming and flip gridding and all kinds of exciting things. And I realized I needed to go back and learn just the basics. I needed to know how to set up my space to be the best I could be for my students, and I needed to know some best practices so that I could deliver my instruction better than I had been. So I want to share with you some things I learned. Some of them I got off the internet, some of them I got talking to my friends, and some of them I learned just by myself, hard knocks. The thing I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over to my other camera. This is my phone, and I've got it hooked together with my computer using a program called Epic Cam. Give me Epic Cam, give me. So this is my phone on a stand. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is how to set up your space, okay? So I'm going to pull my phone off the stand. This is a tour of my workspace. You can see I've got pens and pencils, colored pencils, scissors, anything I might need. I've got a space for my paperwork and my computer. Here you can see that's where my phone goes when I'm not using it to take you on a tour, and it's a gooseneck that's just attached to the bottom of my desk there. I do have a Wacom tablet. I'm still learning how to use it. I think that would be much more useful. This is the crane. I actually built it myself. I built it for my old table that I just replaced, so it's a little bigger than I need for this table, but it's counterbalanced. You can see, and up here you'll see my webcam. It's pretty cool. It turns on, the lights turn on. One of the things I noticed with my webcam is I'm so used to demonstrating upside down, because I've been teaching so long. You need to make sure you're paying attention to exactly which direction your webcam is while you're recording. Here's some water. This is an important part of my studio. You need to keep hydrated. Your health. Now, up here in my studio, I have all of my fancy art materials, but the most important one for teaching virtual teaching is this one. Because this is what my kids have. They have Crayola markers. They have crayons. I want to make sure that when I'm demonstrating with stuff that they have access to. Like I said, to keep me in line, I sometimes put my notes up there. And you can see right there is my clock. Very important. Have a clock that you can see. That's my digital workspace. One of the things you want to do when you're setting up your space is make it as much like a real classroom as you can. So in my real classroom, yeah, there would be lots of materials on the wall, but I'd also have a poster, or I'd have a bulletin board where I could hang the students' artwork. If you have a temporary space with something like a trifold, where you can put your standards and your name, and then you can hang things up maybe with Post-it notes or things like that. That'll work. You can set this on the table behind you, or if you've got an old easel, you can put it on that. This is a great way to make the kids feel like they're still in your classroom. You also need to remember that you need space for multiple activities. I've got my computer sitting here. I've got my cell phone up here, and then I've got my crane that has my webcam over here. Now, I just teach two-dimensional art, so all of my art I can do right on my desk with the camera pointing straight down toward the desk. Some people are doing 3D art, and that's not the best way to teach 3D art. You need to think about where you're going to place your camera so you get the best view of what you're doing. A couple of things that I really struggle with. The first one is safety. I've got my computer, my camera, I've got cords everywhere. Sometimes I'll stand up and my cord to my microphone is still attached. Be careful. The other thing I want to talk to you about is distractions. Now, my studio has my computers that I'm teaching from, but it also has my computers that I actually do my artwork on, and they can be a distraction for me. So sometimes I will put something in between me and my computers just so they don't call to me. The next thing I want to talk to you about is lights. I have really struggled with lights. My husband was so awesome. He put in brand new spotlights for me, and I'll turn this up so you can see one of them. They look amazing, except they look terrible on film. And if you'll notice the one right above my head, I put a cardboard disc over it because if I didn't do that, it was washing out my face. Now, another thing I tried was turning off the lights and just having a light above my head. But then I was starting to look like very strange. So it's really important to be creative with how you manage your lighting. The best light is like Vermeer from a window. You might need to go and get a couple lamps and put them around near you. You might have to go and buy one of those dangly down lights. Just make sure that you've got enough light for you and enough light that the kids can see your artwork that you're working on, your demonstration. If you need light in a space, but you don't have a light to put there, a mirror can bring light to another space. One of the things you want to really avoid is having the light behind you, like having a window behind you and the light coming in. That's not a good choice. Now, the window curtains will be great for the sound, but that light is going to make it hard to see you, and it's going to look like you have like a true confession video going on, so don't do that. When I wasn't using the overhead lights, I had another light going, and the back of my room just looked really dark. So I have this old spotlight. You call this a key light, and it's kind of a good idea. You put the key light behind you, and that actually brightens up the space without it having to bleach you out. So I was trying that for a while, but I've been moving around a lot, so things change. Besides the light, you need to think about your sound. I do have over here books and art materials. That space is going to catch sound, right? It's not going to bounce back at me. But unfortunately, I have these like glass cabinets behind me. Glass is the worst. The sound is bouncing off them and coming back to me. Now, luckily, the way I've got my microphone, my head kind of stops that from happening and all my hair catches it. But if I was doing a recording with a fancy microphone, or if I need to put the microphone down and do something, I would want to cover that with some cloth. Now, I've also got, just to help me out, I've got an old weaving loom here, and I just covered it with a blanket. Now I can move that close in, or I can put it behind me just to cut out the sound and make it easier. Things that you want to think about when you're setting up your space is how big is your room? If you want to teach in a closet, that's actually a really good idea. The smaller your space, the better the sound, and the more intimate it's going to sound to the kids. It's a good idea if that's the space you have. Now, a lot of people are just going to be setting up their space wherever they can. In that case, just think about surrounding yourself with things. That trifold that trifold will really help. Next thing I want to talk about are cameras. So as you can see, I've got Epic Cam. Give me Epic Cam running on my phone right up here in my little gooseneck space. I've also got, I can switch over, and you can see I'm back on my computer. But I'm going to do a demonstration for my students. So now this is what it looks like from my camera that I have on my big crane. Now I built the crane, and it's kind of neat. It's a lot of fun to have, but you could just use one of those desk lamps that's kind of like Pixar, you know, or any desk lamp. You could use the little gooseneck thing that I put my phone on. That would work too. You just want a camera that's going to have a good angle on what you're doing. Now this is perfect if you're doing drawing and painting and flat, collage, anything flat. But if I'm doing sculpture, I'm going to want my camera angle to be at the side instead. Now I spent good money on this camera. I wanted a really good camera for this part. The one that I had when I first started, when I would move my hand across, it would be blurry. It just didn't capture the image fast enough. You also want to think about which direction your camera is. Now I made mine switch simply because I've been teaching so long, doing things upside down is kind of
second nature. So I have to really think about how I want that to look to the students. Doing something upside down on the television is a lot different, or on the computer screen is a lot different than doing it upside down in class with the kids on the other side of the table. So you have to really think about those things as you go along. You also have to think about how the light changes when you switch to a different camera. And you can see with this camera and this light, I have these two shadows right here. Now, I'm going to have to move my lights around if I'm going to record something here or demonstrate something here.
So now we're back to the Epic Cam. The really nice thing about having that small screen and I'm looking at it, it looks like I'm talking to my students, not talking past them. So you want a camera that's somewhere that you feel like you could have a conversation with your students. Teaching. Here's some tricks for teaching that I've figured out. The very first one is don't try any software that you don't already know inside and out. It's a great idea to try all these bells and whistles, but if you don't know exactly how to use it, it's just going to be frustrating for you and for the students. So you need to spend some of your time, some of your planning time, getting acquainted with your software. Something that you need more online when you're teaching online, more brain breaks and more energizers. So when my kids come to class, I try and have some music playing for them. I just run something off of YouTube.
Music is going to help all the kids.
My kids have grown and left the house. But a lot of people don't have that. And I totally feel for these teachers. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that I've found online that might help if you've got kids at home. So the first one, and this only works if your kids can read, post a schedule. You need to have a schedule. If you don't have a door, you could even just tape it onto the side of your table that tells the kids when it's okay to talk to mom and when it's not. Now, I remember when I was a first grade teacher, there were times when I was teaching and I couldn't answer a question. And I had a blue hat that I put on my head. The hat meant I can't answer questions right now. How do I give my kids the information that I can't be bothered right now, but I'll be available in a minute? So you don't have to wear a hat to teach, but think about some way that you can show your young children now's not a good time. Just wait a second. Another thing you want to do is make sure that you plan out your routines. Just like planning your teaching, planning your day. Who's got a Zoom at 2 o'clock? Who's got a Zoom at 9? You have to know with all your kids and all of their schedules exactly how your day is going to look. And it is micromanagement in a way. You need to know down to the closest minute. Another thing you can do, and I think this is a really great idea, teach your kids what things they can do without your help. If your 7-year-old can make a peanut butter sandwich for your 3-year-old, put the peanut butter and the jelly somewhere the 7-year-old can get to them and tell them at 10 o'clock you can have a peanut butter jelly. Plan for the independence of your children. Make sure that you plan for what your kids are going to do, not just expect them to figure it out. Now think about it. That was a lot of stuff. I got one more thing I want to talk to you about, and this is really bothering me today because I thought I was really clever and bought a bunch of really cute glasses, different ones, since that's all the kids were going to see of me. But I didn't get the blue coat on them. But now I know I'm going to get it on all my glasses. I wore my cute little red ones for one day, and my eyes were aching, and I went to bed with a headache. That's a small thing, but there's other things you have to think about, like you need to stand up and move. If you can have a standing table, stand up. When you have a break between classes, go somewhere. Walk up all your stairs and back down all your stairs. Don't go to the bathroom that's closest to your workspace. Go to the bathroom that's on the other side of the building. Make sure that you are taking that step away or you're going to wear yourself out because you'll be sitting down. I heard them say sitting is the new smoking. You need to be thinking about that all day. Another thing that I saw, and I think this is so cool, it's called eye yoga. You can imagine exactly what it is. Just moving your eyes around, focusing far away, focusing close up. Because when you're teaching virtually, you are looking at a screen and it's the same distance away all the time. And your eyes don't have to focus, they don't have to do the normal stuff that eyes are made to do. So stop, look out a window, stop, look at something close. Make sure that you are exercising your eyes and even your hands. You can get really cramped up just being on the computer all day. So, my studio is in the basement. So, I got some fans. Fan. You turn on a fan and it just makes you feel like you're a little bit outside. That kind of fresh air feeling. That's something that's good. Another thing you can do, and the kids really love this, change locations. Teach from your front porch one day. Get out of the space that you're in and move around. Now, you can't necessarily do that every day, but some days it's an okay thing to do, especially if you have your trifold. Just bring it with you to the front porch. And then the other thing too, and this is a do as I say, not as I do, because right now I have a chair that is probably the most uncomfortable chair in the house. It does help me get up between classes and move around, but you also need to think about that. How comfortable are you in the space that you're in? Comfortable in your space. So that was a lot of stuff, and that was really just me talking the whole time, so I know that there's a lot more information out there. Go out. If you're having a problem with something, go and find it, because the internet has everything you need. If you want to ask me any questions, my email. It's down, I don't know, somewhere in the space that you'll have. So I've got a download of this information. I wrote it out for you. And I've also got, like I said, you can always check on me. If you want to see some of the artwork I'm doing with my kids, you are welcome to go to my YouTube channel. It's just L Donahue. So let me know how it goes, and good luck.